After a decent first season in the Premier League and with £50 million to spend and a decent young squad, the question was, where to strengthen? Right back feels somewhere we're relatively weak. Rasmus Christensen is alright, as is Carmona, however he's injury prone and not kicked on like I'd hoped. Looking over the relegated teams, and Tino Livramento at Southampton was transfer listed and all they wanted was 13 million for him. Well, that solves the problem instantly. And then we get a notification that due to other factors and results we're in the Conference League. Could this help us be a more attractive prospect to potential transfer targets? We could go on and win this tournament. We've got to be aiming for that. And despite interest from elsewhere, we managed to secure the deal for Livramento, a great start to our transfer window. The great start continued with the board offering me an improved contract, tying me to the club for the long term. And he didn't want to join permanently, but we secured Endrick on loan, hoping a good season and potential Europa League qualification will be enough to secure his transfer permanently. Want-away striker Lorenzo Luca had submitted a transfer request, and to be honest, he had underwhelmed for the most part. So with a heavy heart, we cashed in £37 million, and he went to Wolves for that fee. Happy days. Young Barcelona prospect Hector Fort was interested in joining another right back. I mean, yeah, why not? Secure that position for years to come in one window. 28.5 million might feel a little steep, but hopefully it'll be worth it. We noticed Rooney Bargy was given Signing of the Season award, and with teammate Jamie Donnelly in second, some great business last season. Let's hope he continues in this window. We had money to spend and players to sell, although all of our loan optional fee for players returned annoyingly. But the money we do have can help us strengthen, and where better than once again in defence. Ousmane Diamonde, who doesn't really fancy coming, but he agreed after a fat contract was offered, and I feel we've splashed the cash on a great signing here. £47 million, a club record fee. However, we are surely going to smash that in the future. Our season started with Bournemouth away, and inside 2 minutes we were ahead, and who scored? You guessed it, Rooney Bargy. We then had a couple disallowed from David Washington and a few close calls. Not to make it too deep into the second half, and Alex Scott nodded in our third. And that's how it finished. We took the first leg of our Conference League qualification against Cluj 4-2, and before the second leg we hosted Chelsea, going ahead 10 minutes into the second half with a goal from that man once again, Rooney Bargy. We couldn't hold on for the win as Nicholas Jackson equalised late on, but a respectable draw against one of the big teams. And then we scraped through to the Conference League, losing 4-3 at home to Cluj. New boy Endrick missing a penalty, and we ended the tie 7-6 winners. Not convincing, but we're through. We then lost 3-0 to Brighton, going down to 10 men as Anton Stach lost his head, lunging in and committing attempted murder in the middle of the match. This was followed by a 1-0 defeat to Villa, with the unusual sighting of an injury to my goalkeeper mid-match. And with us up against City next, I wasn't confident. However, despite going 2-0 down, we showed great character and resolve as Jamie Donnelly bagged a brace, the equaliser in the 89th minute. Can this kickstart our season? Possibly, as we destroyed Newcastle 5-1 in the Carabao Cup. A phenomenal performance, and we're starting to cook. The issue is, up next, it's Liverpool, the current Premier League champions. And Liverpool battered us 4-1. After 6 games, we're in 17th and 5 without a win. We've had a few tough games, but we really need to get some points on the board quickly before the fans and board start turning on me. A nice distraction as we kicked off our Conference League campaign, but it was mixed fashion. I stupidly only registered one goalkeeper, and with Meslier now injured, we had a greyed out player in goal. And they were awful, conceding 4 in a 4-all draw. We also had 2 goals disallowed for offside. This season has been a shambles so far. Back to the league though, and the tough games continued as we visited the Emirates. Arsenal battered us 4-0. We're very leaky at the back. I think a tactical reshuffle might be needed. We went with a 4-3-3 conventional for the game against Spurs, and the tide turned. Jamie Donnelly bagged against his former club from the spot before Victor Gyökeres equalised. Cometh the hour, cometh the man, and who else but man of the series so far, Rooney Bargy, as he prodded home Hector Fort's cross, and we got a valuable and much needed 3 points. That ended our 6-match winless run, which sounds really bad, but in that run we faced City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal, and got a couple of draws from it. I think it looks far worse than it is right now. We then limped past Sparta Prague in the Conference League with another 2-1 win before we visited high-flying Brentford, who've had a fabulous start to the season. In a tense game, 1 goal's enough to win it. Archie Gray took a wonderful touch to get space to shoot and lashed it home. The Carabao Cup run continued as we beat Palace 3-1, a brace from Emmanuel Omega. Shortly after, we follow up with a stalemate against Newcastle before the floodgates opened against Rijeka. in the Conference League. It was 6 of the best in a 6-0 victory. Jamie Donnelly opened the scoring, getting us off to a great start. It was his first of 2 on the night. We also had a hat-trick from your best friend and mine, Rooney Bargy. I can already preempt the devastation I'll feel when he leaves. Although it might not be too bad if someone meets his release clause, because his replacement, Badreddine Bouanani, Jesus, why are my right wingers so difficult to spell and pronounce? Anyway, Bouanani, who came on for Bargy against Leicester and scored in a 2-1 win. Go on, lad. And with this victory, we look like we've recovered from that shaky start. We're now mid-table and on course to meet the board expectations. And up next, it's Manchester United, who are struggling themselves in 9th. Could we take 3 points and really kickstart our campaign? No. No, we couldn't. United won 2-0. And comfortably. Against Ternava in the Conference League, we won 3-0 in a game we absolutely dominated, but it was very, very nervy. We didn't take the lead until the 86th minute, Omega capitalising on a poor back pass. Omega then slotted in a penalty in stoppage time before Jamie Donnelly got himself on the score sheet. David Washington and Endrick's scoring droughts continue. We snuck a 1-0 against West Ham, Endrick still drawing blanks, but we won thanks to that man once again, Rooney Bargy. We then enjoyed Endrick ending his scoring drought in a 2-1 win against Forest, and it was a late showing from substitute Omega against Luton as he bagged a brace as we won 2-0. 3 wins in the space of a week has moved us into the top half for the first time all season. And it was another Endrick goal in a 1-1 draw against Atalanta in the Europa Conference League. The quarter-final of the Carabao Cup threw us Championship side West Brom. Surely we've got enough to beat them. And we did. A hat-trick from Emmanuel Omega, who is fast becoming a cult hero here at Leeds. He takes his tally to 13 so far this season, in just 12 games, and 4 of those were from the bench. A phenomenal return. We finished our Conference League group campaign with a 5-2 win against Ararat Armenia. We finished unbeaten, 6th in the league phase with 4 wins. We did enough to move through to the next stage. We got the Carabao Cup semi-final draw through, and with Brentford, City and Chelsea available, we really looked out here and got Brentford. We continued our great form in the league against Everton. Archie Gray channeled his inner Lionel Messi as he jinked through the Everton defence and scored inside 5 minutes. Then the stage was cleared for the man of the moment, Emmanuel Omega, who scored his 2nd hat-trick in as many games. The first a far post header, the second a left-footed tap-in from an Endrick pullback, and the third a similar type of finish with his right foot, and that completed the perfect hat-trick. The good form came to an end as we had the better of it, but lost 2-0 against Wolves in our Boxing Day fixture. And our Merry Christmas continued as Santa brought us an injury to Omega right before our game against Norwich, who were flying high in 4th, by the way. But who needs Omega right when Rasmus Christensen fired into the top corner to open the scoring? Our old flame Jack Harrison equalised for Norwich, but that's as good as it got for the Canaries. Anton Stach fired us back into the lead with a deflected effort. Then Rooney Bargy scored a beautiful left-footed effort to make it 3. And the scoring was completed when Mateus França played a delicate through ball to David Washington, who slotted home. A magnificent and much needed 4-1 win. And with that, the board and supporters show their support for me, giving me an A+ as a rating. Fast becoming a cult hero myself here at Ellen Road. We then lost 3-0 to Chelsea. But we stepped away from the league with back-to-back cup games, the first against Sunderland in the FA Cup, and we were back to winning ways with a 5-0 win. Endrick, our star of the show here with a hat-trick. Bouanani got the scoring going inside a minute, prodding home. Bouanani then slotted across to give Endrick a similar chance that he early dispatched. Endrick then dispatched coolly before getting a carbon copy of his first to seal his hat-trick. This time Rooney Bargy the provider. Bargy then got on the score sheet to seal the victory in stoppage time. In the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg, things got off to a rough start as we went behind early to a Ben Brereton Diaz header. The high intensity pressure came good for us as we forced an error and wayward clearance that was volleyed home by Rooney Bargy from 35 yards out to level things up. You just can't keep him out of any game. We then continued to press and a lovely passing move was finished off by Jamie Donnelly, making it 2-1. Semi-final first leg. Advantage Leeds. Back to the league and we got a hard-fought point against Bournemouth, battling over 50 minutes with 10 men. We followed this up with a dismal display against Brighton, getting battered 4-1, our second defeat to Brighton by 3 goals this season. After back-to-back defeats, we had the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final and we found our form once more. Endrick put us ahead from a França cross. França doubled our lead on the night with a gorgeous touch and finish. Brentford got one back before Archie Gray sealed it, bursting through and coolly finishing. We're going to the final. More cup heroics as we struggle past Stoke, a brace for Anton Stach before getting injured. Back in the league, and the indifferent form continued as we threw a 1-0 lead away against Aston Villa. Against City, we followed on from the 2-2 earlier in the season with another one, going ahead through a Ruben Dias own goal before gifting Erling Haaland an equaliser. Alex Scott restored our lead and we looked set to win it, but with a few minutes to go, City equalised and it finished 2-2. And with that, it makes 5 without a league win, and the supporters have rescinded their A+, fickle bastards. We're now getting a B. Transfer deadline day, and I must have missed the inbox message, but for some reason we have £35 million to spend. So I jumped straight to South America and went wonderkid hunting. I've had my eye on hot prospects Marlon Gomez and Claudio Echeverri. They're both interested as well. And within our budget. Marlon Gomez, £30 million release clause, and Echeverri, £9 million. We signed both of those players, and deadline day then finished without us having to shoo away unwanted advances for some of our players. Bayern was sniffing around David Pizarro, but I was pleased they didn't return with a renewed offer. We also got Alarcon signed up on a pre-contract deal from Barcelona. He doesn't look great, but worth a gamble, I think. So, after the great transfer deadline day, we had title contenders Liverpool back in the league to try and break our winless run. Omega, back from injury and fit, dispatched a penalty in the second half, and we looked as if we could hold on. We then scored 2 more in injury time. Jamie Donnelly with his screamer. Then Alex Scott exploited the holes in the Liverpool defence to make it 3, which might have flattered us in the end, but we'll take it. We then did Chelsea more favours as we took points off Arsenal in a 0-0 draw. After 25 games, we're 12th. Qualifying for Europe is surely via the Carabao Cup or Conference League. We dropped more points as we drew against Palace, a late equaliser for them. And we had the Carabao Cup final ahead, and it was Manchester City. And City started quite slowly, failing to defend let's be real, a poor free kick from Hendrick, which then allowed Max Wober to scuff a header home. A comedy of errors for City. 1-0 Leeds. Half-time came and went and nothing changed in City's attitude. Slow to close down, we worked it across to Mr. Leeds himself, Archie Gray, who rattled one in off the post from 25 yards. 2-0. A looping Rooney Bargy cross found Marlon Gomez, who headed in his first for the club. The January signing makes it 3-0 and seals the win. Erling Haaland got a consolation in the 93rd minute, and Leeds have won the Carabao Cup. But the cup heroics came to an end as we faced Arsenal in the FA Cup 5th round. We held our own and pushed them all the way, finally losing 6-5 on penalties. With the league taking centre stage once more, Jamie Donnelly got us on our way against Brentford in a back and forth first half. We went on the offensive and came in at half time 4-2 up. We added a 5th in the second half, rounding off a comprehensive victory. Now, onto the Conference League and Ludogorets. And things started badly, going behind to a goal from Yankov. And we felt like we were being Yankov'd out of the Conference League, as he scored again to make it 2. However, the 2-0 lead lasted just a minute with Jamie Donnelly popping up, scoring to make it 2-1, and then he dispatched a penalty shortly after that, making it 2-2 and all square going into our home leg. In between the home leg and the away leg, we got pummeled 3-0 by Newcastle, but we flipped that scoreline around against Ludogorets and won 3-0 in the home leg, 5-2 on aggregate in a comfortable performance. We dominated early on, and once we were ahead, the result never felt in doubt. We're heading to the quarter-finals. Against Leicester, we were behind inside 2 minutes, but Echeverri on his debut cut inside and lashed home brilliantly to level it up. Omega put us ahead on 15 minutes, and that was the scoring done in a 2-1 win. As ever, there was a poor youth intake. Enough said. We then drew 1-1 with Spurs, Usman Diamonde grabbing a 94th minute equaliser before a disappointing 3-1 defeat at home to Palace. We must have one eye on the Conference League. And it was the Conference League quarter-final, and Real Betis, and the away leg finished 0-0. And our league form continued to be a complete shambles as we lost 3-0 to West Ham. But once again, it was our home form in the Conference League that carried us through, a 2-0 win against Betis, and now we've got Banik Ostrava in the semi-final. And all of a sudden, we're in touching distance of winning this thing. Some very welcome points in the league as we beat Forest 3-0 and Luton 4-1. Against Luton, Jamie Donnelly scored all 4. Not to be outdone though, Hendrick started to finally come to the party as he scored all 4 in our semi-final first leg against Banik Ostrava. 1 foot in the final as we won 4-0. The season continued to throw up results that surprised me. At home to Man United, just a comfortable 3-0 win. A brace for David Washington and Joel Hato from left back with the 3rd. And with that, we're 9th. Of course, Conference League qualification is already secured thanks to the Carabao Cup victory, and Europa League is a possibility as we already have 1 foot in the final of the Conference League. But with 3 games left, there's an outside chance of qualifying through the league position. We did what we needed to against Banik Ostrava, already 4-0 up on aggregate, a 2-1 win. Nice in the final await. We kept up our winning ways though, as we beat Everton 2-1 and then Wolves 6-1. And after an indifferent season, we've secured a top 4 finish, 3 years ahead of schedule, and the board are delighted. Let's hope our summer budget is reflected in that. Eh? And it's incredibly appropriate that our final day fixture is against Norwich, as we go head to head in the battle for 6th place. After the start we had, can you believe that we might finish 6th? I certainly can't. And in a close game, it looked as though it would end 0-0. However, a quick double salvo in injury time at the end meant we won 2-0 and did secure 6th place. In other news, Leicester beat Luton 5-0, which condemned Crystal Palace to relegation. And in our 3rd season as Leeds manager, to be in a European final is some achievement. We already have a trophy to our name, but to get this far and lose would actually be devastating. So we really needed to dig deep against Nice. And we did. The perfect start as David Pizarro scored. Well, he didn't really. He actually went down as an own goal, and he can really consider himself unlucky here. Inside quarter of an hour though, Jamie Donnelly made it 2, and Pizarro was absolutely running the show. The master of our creative drive, as he found Endrick, who played it out to Buonani, who made it 3. Buonani then drove down the right to find Archie Gray, who set up David Washington. That was 4. Buonani had time to cut back inside and slot home to round off a victory. 5-0, emphatic, and that's the 2nd trophy of the season for Leeds. A magnificent double, 2 trophies in our 3rd season. We're building a legacy, and quickly. Now on to shift some of the fat from the squad and look to strengthen in key areas. Will Endrick be staying permanently? If not, this season's perseverance with him will be a complete waste of time. The budget's then, and the board have given me £56 million to spend. Not bad. Plus with a few sales we should have over £100 million to spend, so time will tell. But where to strengthen? That is the question. We'll have to see how the window progresses and see who becomes available. But for now, Season 3 is in the books, Season 4 awaits, Europa League, and the next stop, Champions League.